Okay, my outstanding friends, this is just amazing. This is about how they're raising cows now. Forget cowbells. Cows wear high-tech collars now. Now, they use the wearable collar. Dairy farmers gather more data so their animals are happier, produce more milk, and they can find out virtually everything about them. Now, this just came out by Ellie Tan. The cow at the edge of Tony Louters' dairy farm in Merced, California, held 11 gallons of milk in a secret. In the next 48 hours, she would become sick. Now, in the next 48 hours, that cow is going to get sick. Wait till you hear this. This is what I call a twofer. On many farms, the health signs would have gone undetected, costing hundreds of dollars in lost milk. But thanks to a high-tech collar that each of Mr. Louters' 700 cows wears around its neck, fitted with movement sensors and Wi-Fi, he learned the cow's diagnosis 5:30 in the morning when his computer pinged with an alert about its biometric data. Where do you hear this? By 6 a.m., Mr. Louters given the cow a remedy of probiotics and warm water that solved the problem before it began. The probiotics were wrong in the cow's guts. How the hell did they figure that out? This is blowing my mind. Okay, we're going to go deep into the cow thing in a second. However, this all relates to T cells and the immunities that come out of these T cells, but the T cells have to have the right bacteria to create the right enzymes to do the chemistry. That's the key. Now, they did find these immune cells, but the immune cells are there. Either they work or they don't work. They also found that, but at least they know the cells are there and they're supposed to work, but sometimes they don't work. So, and I know why they don't work, because they don't have the right bacteria. And we're going to go through this in some detail, because I commented years ago, and you're going to see this, about this one right here, about how the cells work. And the name of it was "Your Textbooks Are Wrong. This is what cells actually look like." And this was 5 years ago. I commented, we can literally save lives. Look at this, Mudfossil unit, 5 years ago. Would you work with me? Please contact me. No, zero. I thumbed myself up, and these people, 9.1 thousand thumbs up. I got nothing. For 5 years ago, and since then, this has sort of dropped off the table. I continue to post about this forever, because this is where your immune system is. And when that bacteria harvests up all those enzymes and goes out into the fluid-filled highway, which also was just discovered in 2018, they agreed, yes, there is a fluid-filled highway. They still don't know how it works. This is where all your lymph and your enzymes and your bacteria go around your body, and they interact with all the cells in your body through these little tubules. I wrote a paper about this 2015. It's all over your body, and this is where the immune system works. Now, stick with me on this, please. This is the most important thing you ever watch in your entire life. I'm telling you this right now. All right, this guy's name is Gokul, and he is with UC Berkeley, I believe. Anyway, it'll show who he is. Now, they had used some new techniques to actually visualize the immune system in action, which is the fluid-filled highway. Now, what he's going to show is two types of bacteria, basically. One of them doesn't eat anything, it doesn't poop, it just runs around, it signals. All right? And it signals the other one that goes and grabs up a bunch of different enzymes and delivers them into the immune system, which is the lymph. Now watch.
I still remember the moment. Something that I will never forget. The hair on my hands just stood up. It's a microscopic universe within each cell.
All right, this is within a cell. Now listen.
This is an
All right, now when I talked about the immune system and immune cells and T regulatory cells, immune cells are in this layer of your membrane. And then right above is this layer, which is the fluid-filled highway. This was just discovered. They didn't know it exists. Inside here is where your bacteria, your lymph, your all kinds of enzymes live in here, those ribosomes, which I think I showed you, or you certainly will see them. They're the tiniest little balls. Now inside here, this is hugely microscopic here. Now, watch what happens inside here. This is unprecedented. Nobody's ever seen this before. Now here it goes, and this was 5 years ago.
Unprecedented view of the cellular world, where we can...
All right, this is a bacteria, and it's got a little flagella on there, and it's floating around. It's gobbling up all this blue stuff. They think it's eating sugars to get some food or something, but I believe no. This is your immune cell, and this is the bacteria that's living in there, scooping up the enzymes. It's going to pop out here into the fluid-filled highway and deliver these enzymes wherever they're needed to do whatever it needs to do with them.
Can actually see immune cells scooping up sugars in the...
You actually see immune cells. That's an immune cell. Why? It's not scooping up sugars. It's scooping up enzymes, in my mind.
ear of a zebrafish in real time.
Right out.
Focusing only on the crawling immune cells, we've noticed two classes of them.
Two classes of them.
One seemed...
Now listen to what he has to say. One of them is very active, but it apparently doesn't eat, doesn't poop. It's just very active. It's scooting around, and it signals. That's the one that they talk about, the signaling one, which is the cytokine.
It was not hungry at all, but it was very active in terms of trying to figure out, what the environment is.
It's going around trying to figure out what the environment is. That's the signaler. All right, it's a cytokine. And when you're being invaded all over your body, you have a cytokine storm, because if all of them are acting up and say, well, we got a problem here, we got a problem over here, we got a problem over here, we got a problem. And that's because your bacteria is being destroyed by some invader. And it's killing your bacteria, the enzymes stop. These see that they're missing all kinds of bits and pieces. They're reporting as a storm, a mass of reports at one time come in, and that's a cytokine storm. These are the cytokines. What do? They report to these next guys, which are the bacteria.
There's another one that was kind of slouching around with a lot of food in its belly.
That's not food. Well, it could be, but I don't think it is. That goes right out here and squirts right down that fluid-filled highway.
We can actually conceptualize.
All right, don't forget, here's the fluid-filled highway. Right there. They scoot around inside these immune cells, the bacteria, little big tiny things, and then they go zip right out there, and they go and deliver it wherever it's got to go. That is the fluid-filled highway. All right, and these here are probably skin cells, something like that. But they finally discovered this, and the name of this, it says your textbooks are wrong. This is what cells actually look like. And that guy was Gokul from UC Berkeley. And again, I commented on this thing 5 years ago, and I get nothing from anybody ever. See? Mudfossil University, 5 years ago. We can literally save lives. I gave myself a thumbs up, and that was it. Everybody else, look at these. Everybody else is getting 6,000 hits, 9,000 thumbs up. I get nothing. This happened to me. I don't know why, but it's just the way it was in my world. The things I talk about, people don't want to hear. And I'm talking about health. This is not hard to understand what's going on here. Without the enzymes, you're done. It's the closest we can get to talking to the cows. Mr. Louters, 52, has used the collar since they debuted in 2013, so he's been using them 12 years. when the devices were no more advanced than a pedometer. But in recent years, Merced, the healthcare company that makes the collars, has added new kinds of sensors and software to the wearables and artificial intelligence to help process the data. We have the same situation with our guts. That's why when I saw the probiotics, I freaked out. My wife told me about this. She browsed onto this. She says, yeah, you're going to be excited. They're talking about probiotics in cows. Now, the devices are part of an industry known as the precision farming, a data-driven approach for optimizing production that is booming with the addition of these AI and other technologies. Last year, the livestock monitoring industry alone was valued at more than $5 billion. Now, farmers long used technology to collect and analyze data, with the origin of precision farming dating to the 1990s. In the early 2000s, satellite imagery changed the way farmers determined crop schedules, as they did drones and eventually sensors in the fields. Nowadays, if you drive by farms in places like California's Central Valley, you may not even see a human being. They don't need them anymore. They get all their data wirelessly transmitted, where the cows are, where they're walking, if they got a problem with their gut. This is just amazing. Absolutely, this is just absolutely blowing my mind. I got to take a moment off. Yeah, it's not just the dairy farm seeing a change. Elsewhere in the Central Valley, produces about half of America's fruits and vegetables. Autonomous tractors that use the same sensors as robot taxis and apple picking tools, with AI cameras that have become popular. They're going out and harvesting and doing all this stuff. The most common precision farming tactic, like GPS maps that track crop yields and auto-steering tractors, are used by 70% of large farms today, up from less than 10% in the early 2000s. And this is according to the Department of Agriculture. Now, the tech is getting faster every year, said Deepak Joshi, a professor of precision agriculture at Kansas State University. It used to be we'd have new technologies every few years, and now it's every 6 months. This AI is, they can do a lot with this, but it's also has its flaws. I'm not going to go into that now, but it's in some cases it's automated indoctrination, where there's no hard, solid data. It becomes automated indoctrination. We think this, we believe this, and they present it as facts, when I have discovered that a lot of the things artificial intelligence presents as a fact in the theoretical realm is not fact whatsoever, and it's wrong. So that's my statement on AI. Now, the new products helping farmers reduce costs as tariffs and inflation rise, plus they're losing all their farm workers, and raise the price of farm equipment and feed. They also allow farmers to do more work with fewer people, as Trump administration cracks down on the illegal immigration. Precision farming has boomed as the cost of camera and sensors plunged, and AI models that analyze data have improved, said Charlie Wu, the founder of Orchard Robotics, a robotics startup in San Francisco. Much like the rest of AI, industry agriculture technology, now anchored by chips made by NVIDIA. Now, business has never been better, Mr. Wu added. Orchard sells cameras that use generative AI to scan fields of apples, blueberries, cherries, and measure the growth of the fruit to the millimeter. Indeed, for products mostly come from farmers, he said, so he sends engineers to get their hands dirty on farms every month. All right, now we're getting into my area. Merced collars mostly track cow digestion. Digestion is your health. Just like that guy gave the cow probiotics, the cow never got sick. They track the digestion with a motion sensor monitor, chewing and sending the data to an advanced algorithm, follows the food through the 4 stomach compartments. How do they do that? I want to really understand this. How do they follow that food? How does they return that information? If the timing of digestion, which farmers call rumination, is abnormal, okay, the collars flag the data within a few hours. All right, so they're not digesting it correctly, so it's either building up or it's moving too quick or something. Annie Vanerdern, general manager of Warner Dairy in Brown County, bought the collars last year and has used them to expand her dairy to 5,000 cows from 2,700 without adding a single worker. She just put the things on them and they go out and she takes care of them and she doesn't have to, yikes. Data from the collars hooks up to a computer that controls the farm's electronic gates, which can sort the cows into groups according to their health. Wow. Workers on Mrs. Vanderburg's farm now check on only 2% to 5% of the cows each day because the data shows the rest are fine. So they only go to see where the sick ones are and take care of them. Her cows each typically produce about 80 pounds of milk a day, but that can rise to 85 if they are especially healthy and happy. So that's like a 10% rise almost. Well, not quite. If you can get a few extra pounds of milk a day multiplied by thousands of cows, that really makes a difference, she says. Okay, it's just saying that Mr. Louter runs his farm from a cockpit of monitors in a room overlooking the milking station. Each morning he uses data from the collars to generate a report so workers know which cows might be getting sick before they even get sick and which ones are in heat, getting ready to conceive or mate. He also employs a nutritionist with a PhD who uses the data to adjust ingredients in the food, ground corn, amino acids, minerals, down to the ounce, so they get the right stuff. Now, the other thing is, how do they know how this stuff is ruminating through? They have a bunch of different stomachs, cows, and they have to basically ferment and digest the food, the fibrous stuff. They must put something in there that they can track to follow it through. I got to really look into this. I'd love to be able to talk to these people and see how they're actually doing this. Because as that stuff moves through the body, yes, if it takes too long or it's not moving or it's moving too fast, something's wrong with your digestion. And the only thing that digests is probiotics. I've been saying this for years now. For 10 years, I've been posting about this. We've been doing observational studies on autism and everything else using probiotics. And I'm not going to make any big statements about it, but I'm going to tell you right now, probiotics are 100%. 100% of the chemistry in your body is done by bacteria, which create enzymes, which create the chemistry in your body. It's the only thing. If you don't have the right bacteria, you're not going to get the enzymes, you're not going to get the chemistry. And that's why they're getting sick. And that's why, boy, when I saw that about the probiotics, in half an hour, his cow was healthy again. By 6 a.m., he'd given the cow a remedy of probiotics and warm water and solved the problem before it even started. This is the new world we're in right now. Now, it's, I don't know what the future of mankind is. I got to be perfectly honest with you. It's changing fast. At this moment in time, everything is changing fast. We really are living in a brand new, it's just like you opened a new door and walked into a new universe. And not only this stuff, our history, the things that we believed, everything is a new universe right now, my friends. Okay, it's something I probably haven't made clear, and I didn't really fully understand myself, is the difference between soil-based probiotics and regular probiotics. Soil-based probiotics is what I take, and they are encapsulated. The bacteria is encapsulated, so it gets through your digestive system, your stomach, down into your gut. Like, so this is from 2025. This just came out in July. Soil-based probiotics have been touted for their ability to improve digestion, stimulate the immune system, and help maintain a healthy gut microbiota. The only way you can get it is if it can get down into the area it needs to populate. And the only ones apparently that can do this are these soil-based ones. The regular probiotics apparently can't get through the stomach to where they have to go. It sounds like. Now, I take the the Primal Defense. This stuff isn't cheap, but I take twice a day. High potency, broad spectrum probiotic, and it's the soil based. So I'm not recommending anything. I'm not recommending you take or don't take. But if you don't have the right poop, you're not going to be healthy. You've got to digest correctly. Now, I'd love to know how they're monitoring how quickly the food, which is basically fiber, goes through the cow's stomach, and how they monitor in each one of these areas in the stomach that it goes through. And the guy within 30 minutes, he's fixed the cow before the cow even was sick. This floors me. Anyway, thank you, my good friends. I've been recommending probiotics for over 10 years now because of a friend of mine. His name also is Roger. He took those after being told he was probably going to die. And he ended up taking these right here, Primal Defense Ultra Capsules, and within 2 weeks he was healthy again. Now, we need to talk to the Trump administration and so forth, because I have a whole setup figured out how to monitor the digestive system of the babies and the infants and the mothers and so forth as they're developing. The infant is growing. He's got to have the right stuff. He's got to digest correctly. If the poop isn't correct, you're in trouble. It's all about the poop, and it's all about how they digest. And when you get these shots and so forth, some of these things are live viruses. They attack you. And if you don't have any way to fight back, you don't have these probiotics in you to fight back, you're going to get some kind of real serious illness, and it can be autism, it can be anything. And there is I saw there was some kind of vaccine court they have, where you can go in and say, I was damaged by this vaccine, and they had a guy on there, he had taken tetanus, and within a couple of days he was really in bad shape, and it's been going on for years. He still can't work. And they go to this court, and I guess they can award them money based on the fact if they can say, yes, this absolutely caused it. But because you want to have vaccines. Vaccines are good, but you have to be able to react to them. If you have no reaction to them at all, the vaccine is going to overtake your body and make you unwell. You have to have a good gut bacteria. And the only way to monitor that, and you can also monitor it now through the interstitial layer fluids, which is the lymph. I would say that's probably the best way to do it. But, well, you do both ways, your lymph and the fecal matter. And if you can sample those, we should be able to cure health. And especially using AI. Once again, AI. So for us, humans, we would take a poop, take a picture of it with your phone, email it off, or send it off to the AI, and within seconds probably you'd have a response that say you're high on this, you're low on that, take some of this, take some of that. And there's no reason we shouldn't be able to take the bacterias and be able to sooner or later sort them out and be able to ferment them and grow them in vats. You don't have to take fecal matter from somebody else. Right now, that's the only way, because we don't know what bacteria is what, and we don't know what's healthy and what isn't healthy. We need to get a database, and if all the people that are unhealthy are going to be somewhere in that range, and all the healthier people are going to be somewhere in a different range. And this type of disease is going to have this type of lactobacillus or whatever it is. So what we need to do is get this formatted and lay this out in a logical, sensible way. How are we going to test what's in the body, and how are we going to associate it to what makes you healthy or sick? It's not that big of a thing, but it's got to be widespread. Right now they do like 8 or 10 people at a time to figure something out, and they say, oh, well, we need more research, more of this, that. This is very simple to do. It's not invasive. We're taking fecal swabs and we're relating them to what is in the body's digestive system. All right, I love you all. I wish somebody would contact me. And here, hold on. Here is the way to contact me. Roger@mudfossils.com. With an S, mudfossils.com. Thank you. I love you all. Bye. This is amazing. This just came in. I'm doing the one about the cows and the probiotics. Surprising immune cell discovery wins 2025 Nobel Prize. Here's the science. This just came out minutes ago. Now, this is how to stop the body from turning against itself. Well, it turns against itself because it has no ability to fight back. And here's what they found. I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Here it is right here. They discovered a specific protein, which is an enzyme. Enzymes and proteins are the same thing, basically. Identified these regulatory T cells called FOXP3. It meant scientists could work out when a cell was regulatory and also isolated them for study. So this regulatory T cell prevent immune cells from attacking the body by secreting immune dampening proteins. Now, the T cells, that's fine. But is it the cell or is it the bacteria living in the T cells? That's the key. I believe it's the bacteria. Okay, this is their work has revealed immunity and inflammation is actively regulated by these enzymes. Everything's regulated by enzymes. Enzymes are only created by bacteria. It has provided a raft of new ideas to control inflammatory disease, whether caused by infection, allergens, environmental pollutions, or autoimmunity. All of those things are controlled by bacteria, which create enzymes, which do the chemistry that control all of those reactions and interactions and breaking down the foods and all of that stuff in your body, the digestion. It's all about the bacteria in your body. If you don't have the right bacteria, you're not going to have the right enzymes. You don't have the right enzymes, you do not get the chemistry. Okay, so they're talking about immunologists. For decades, they've been studying and trying to understand this. But it was the groundbreaking work of this year's Nobel laureates led to discovery of specialized immune cells. Those are the T cells, regulatory T cells. Let's look and see what happens in the regulatory T cells. Okay, these are the regulatory T cells, and they're specialized white blood cells, acts as the immune system's brake. Well, where do they come from? And how do they do that? They release inhibitory cytokines. Well, what are inhibitory cytokines? Okay, I just want to let you know, this whole thing, as far as I'm concerned, is based on ribosomes, which come from bacteria and only come from bacteria. Only. And they have inside of them enzymes. And here's how this whole thing works. You take the bacteria, it creates this ribosome, which is a chain of polypeptides. These are amino acids. They program messenger RNA, and that messenger RNA comes up and splices into our DNA to make you immune. That's one situation. These can make us immune from disease, or they can make us get disease by doing the same basic thing, reprogramming our bacteria to go against our body. So that's one situation that the bacteria does. All right, it's either good to make us immune or bad to make us sick. Now, the good bacteria, the probacteria, do something different. They shoot out these balls called ribosomes. Same thing. They can be good or bad. If they're from a bad bacteria, you get sick. If they're from a good bacteria, it makes you healthy. The ribosome comes out, and what happens to that ribosome? It comes here as a ball, all right, of extremely exotic chemistry, and it's so microscopic that you can have millions of these balls in a single human cell, and you have trillions upon trillions of cells in your body, and you can have millions of these in each one of those cells. When they come out, they explode, and something triggers them. Pow! The sheath comes off. Now, they either become enzymes or they become proteins. The difference is proteins are building blocks, enzymes are smasher. They break things. Enzymes are catalysts. They break things. Proteins build things, and they build things fast. And these things break things instantly. You can do more chemistry in 1 second because of having this enzyme than it would take in a million years, in a lot of cases, to do the same chemistry. And it works by half-lives. You have to understand the chemistry, the deep into the molecules, when you do chemistry, things become stable for a certain amount of time, and then they decay, and then they decay, and then they decay. Well, this thing goes, oh, done. But in life, it would take millions of years to do that same. It would happen, but it just doesn't happen fast enough for life to work. So you have to have enzymes, or you'd fall over dead within minutes. And when your enzymes are damaged, like a nuclear pulse of radiation, pow! And these enzymes, the bacteria cannot withstand that pulse. The bacteria die. They don't, almost instantly, and they don't produce the ribosomes. It only takes 2 or 3 hours before you get deathly sick. And what happens, you throw up and you have diarrhea and vomiting and everything because you're not creating the enzymes. Just like that farmer, I think I've already showed you, the farmer went out and gave the enzymes to the cow, the probiotics, and he's never got sick. The same thing would happen, I believe, if you recharge your probiotics after getting these pulses. The same thing with CAT scans. You're taking radiation, X-rays, they're killing your bacteria. I don't know how much it kills, but I got a feeling even X-rays and so forth are enough, especially CAT scans. They're giving you as much radiation as you should receive in a whole year within an hour or however long it takes to. They give you all kinds of X-rays. And that's how they build the image of your body. But anyway, what we need to do, look, Parkinson's linked to gut bacteria, unexpected simple treatment, all of this stuff, but you got to get it down into where it can take hold. And that's where the soil-based probiotics come in. And I think I already talked about those. So it's all about the bacteria, but they still don't understand where it lives, how it jumps into the immune system, fluid-filled highway, and how it reacts in that fluid-filled highway. I don't think they understand that. They understand now the importance of probiotics, but I think that's about it. Okay, so they got the Nobel Prize for discovering these T-regulating cells. Now, how do they do their regulating? They accomplish it by releasing inhibitory cytokines. Well, let's look into that. Okay, don't forget now, these Nobel laureates led to the discovery of specialized immune cells called regulator T cells. Now they know the cells are there, and they prevent immune cells from attacking our own body, so they know they're there. What else do they know about them? For decades, immunologists weren't certain why some immune cells functioned as they should and why others went rogue and attacked the body's own tissue. Now, we get down to arthritis, multiple sclerosis, all of these things, autoimmune conditions. Now, and then they go down, but they have realized now that these T lymphocyte cells are what has to work correctly for you to be healthy. Now, let's take a look at these T lymphocytes. He's going to be announcing this. I looked at, it's good that at least they're starting now to understand that these T cells play the critical role. Now, there's much more to this than just understanding the cells are there. And why are these cells healthy and why are they not healthy? That's the key. That's where I go. Is what's the guts of the whole thing? And it is your guts. So they're called regulatory T cells. All right, and it says it showed that T cells carrying a specific type of protein on their surface actually eliminated harmful T cells. Well, they knew enough to regulate and see these harmful T cells, and then they went and killed them. And this, I think I understand this pretty well now. And we've been doing a study on autism for years and years, and it's been working quite well, just with probiotics, helping to control the symptoms. And I'll show you why, because everything is enzymes. And again, it's the regulatory T cells, prevent immune cells from attacking by secreting immune dampening proteins. The only way you get the proteins is from bacteria. See, even today they don't understand. Proteins and enzymes come from the same source. They're these ribosomes, and they unsheath, and either they turn into enzymes or proteins. Depends on what bacteria squirted it out. Every bacteria has a little program in it that says, I make proteins to make muscles and bones and eyeballs and so forth. And this other one says, I want to go and break down carrots. When they come through, I want to break that carrot down and make it into little bits and pieces. And that's basically what the proteins do. And enzymes and proteins. Here's the key. You see how complicated that is? That's an enzyme, and it could also be a protein, but it's extremely complicated. The proteins are not as complicated. They're building blocks. The enzymes have to be extremely complicated because they're searching for other life to destroy and other molecular things. Everything has magnetism. Everything has magnetism, all right? It has centers of positive and negative places, all right? Now, if you have the right attachments on these positives and negatives, it can actually attach. Boy, these things are all stuck together. Yikes. It can attach to another molecule and just kill it, destroy it, which is how drugs work, basically. They destroy other molecules. Now, the problem is you take antibiotics, it comes in and it kills all the things that are alive. And now you really got a problem. You got to replace those good ones. And that's how it's done, by bacteria. Bacteria are the only thing that work fast enough to make your body work. And they are both enzymes and proteins created from the bacteria. Our bacteria are under assault. We need to do a database. I've been talking about this for 10 years now. And now at least they realize the T regulatory cells are the issue. And if you look inside what they do, they produce two things, cytokines and enzymes. See, there's a big discussion whether enzymes are proteins. Are enzymes proteins? Well, they came from the same source, but this builds up and this breaks down. And they can't get their head around that one, really. Nobody understands even what they are, to be honest with you. Now, we're talking about cytokines and enzymes. Cytokines are not enzymes. I agree with that. Cytokines are broad category, small proteins. They're signaling molecules. They signal the immune system to turn on the enzyme. When an enzyme turns on, the enzyme does the job. All right, cytokines are also be involved in enzyme processing, such as activating or being activated by the enzymes. The only thing that happens in your body, this chemistry, is your enzymes cause it. Cytokines themselves are not the enzymes. They're the signalers. And I'm going to show you it actually signaling. I'll show you the cytokines and I'll show you the enzymes. Okay, my friends, this is going to be exciting. They have found the Treg cells, which are white blood cells, and they are in the interstitium layer. I'm going to show you this in a second. Now, this is a brand new discovery. They just got the Nobel Prize for this, for discovering these Treg cells. I'll show you what they are. Okay, this is about the discovery showed how important regulatory T cells, also called Tregs, are in regulating other inflammatory immune cells in the body. Well, I say it's because they are creating enzymes from bacteria. Now, it says the work of this year's Nobel laureates has also massively opened up a field of immunology going far beyond merely understanding the process of immune tolerance. Well, I think I understand the immune system pretty well now. I've been working on this for quite some time. I'm going to actually show you things happening in the immune system. All right. These are white blood cells. Tregs are a specific type of white blood cell. And they're in the immune system. I'm going to show you these things. And they prevent autoimmune disease. But how do they do that? They do it because they have bacteria living in there to create enzymes. And the enzymes are the chemistry sets that protect your body. All right, remember this. You would die almost instantly without enzymes because they speed up essential biological reactions at a rate suitable for life. Without them, the crucial chemical processes digesting your food, producing your energy, would happen so slowly, taking billions of years for some reactions, that they would not sustain life. You just fall over dead. Without enzymes, the body's ability to maintain homeostasis, which is a good quality of life, would fail, leading to the rapid shutdown of all cellular and bodily functions. You're dead. Okay, my friends, this is very interesting. This just popped up out of nowhere. Now, I've been claiming fecal matter transplants, fecal microbiota transplants, will cure almost, it seems like, just about anything. Now, does it have any downside? Well, it does not appear to short term, and I don't think they're talking about long-term risks. Well, I don't see where that's if it's short term and it's working good, I don't see where the long term is an issue, but let's look through, because they're making a good point. You have to have the bacteria where its niche is, where it's supposed to grow. But I think that's just going to happen naturally if the body has the right bacteria floating through the immune system, which is the lymph. Now, they're saying the fecal transplant has been touted as a potential treatment for a variety of conditions, from inflammatory bowel disease, obesity, type 2 diabetes, even autism. New research, however, cautions against widespread use of this because of the potential for long-lasting, unintended health consequences for the recipients. I haven't heard that from anybody else. This is the first I've heard of it. They're long-lasting, and usually they say they're safe, and very little, or at first, when they first hit you with the thing, things change inside your gut, and then within a week or so, you're in pretty good shape. That's what I've always heard. Now, I'm going to look into that in another minute. Fecal matter transplant is moving the stool from a healthy person into a sick person. Now, there are places where you in other words, you can't just eat it and it'll automatically go through your stomach and stay alive. That's the problem. You got to have it go up to where it's supposed to be living, I think. That may be the whole key here now. But anyway, it has to colonize where it's supposed to be. Some colonize the small intestine, other parts of the digestive system. It's not just one big thing. I have to agree with that. And they say it's a bit of a wake-up call. Maybe we shouldn't just willy-nilly put large bowel microbes into different parts of the intestine. Well, I don't know. That's a good point. I can't deny it. Okay, I have to agree. I can't disagree with what they're talking about. There could be issues, but the first place we want to start is to take and get a database of what people with irritable bowel syndrome and other different diseases or everything, virtually everything is listed as a disease, and then we get a profile of that person's bacteria. And then somebody that doesn't have that disease and a profile of their bacteria. And we have enough of that. Sooner or later, we're going to see that certain people that have certain diseases are going to have certain issues with their bacteria. It's almost certain, because those are the enzymes. And if you don't have the bacteria, you will not have the enzymes. If you don't have the enzymes, you're going to have some kind of issue. The enzymes have to be there. And there's 75,000 of them that they feel right now, but there's probably many more than that. And every one of them does a very, very exotic chemical breakdown. You see how exotic these enzymes are? And they come out of those little tiny balls, and those little tiny balls are so small, these little balls right here, that you could fit millions of them inside of one single human cell. And when they pop open to an exotic pile of chemistry, which is called an enzyme, and what it does is called click chemistry. It has a whole batch of little magnetic particles, and they have fields. And it knows what to attach to whatever. If it's going to break something down to make zinc, it's bing, 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 bing. It breaks down until it gets to the zinc. If it's going to kill something, it finds a match, something over there that has facial identification or whatever it uses to figure out, and it machine guns them basically. This will work so fast that they say the only restriction to the speed of its reaction is how quick it can get to the substrate. So it kills things just like a machine gun, like a bulldozer. That's the way they make it sound. Now, I can't guarantee that, but that's the way they make it sound. They say that they work over and over and over. They don't get used up until everything done the job, and then I imagine they just sort of turn into little bits and pieces, and you get recycled. But when they're needed, they have to get produced. And when they get produced, they pop out into the lymph. Here's right here, Parkinson's link to gut bacteria suggests unexpected simple treatment. They're showing bacterias and the viruses and cells and all that stuff, and that's how it all works. That's how it all works. But I do understand the comment about possibly the stuff getting in the wrong place, whatever that is. Let's just not worry about that for right now. Let's get a database and then see how we can work with that database, and then find out if we can supplement using these specific enzymes. Because most of the enzymes are available. You just have to use the right ones. You don't want to use the wrong ones, because they do chemistry. But if you have the right database and it says you're way up high with this, if you put some of this enzyme in there, it's going to come back down to here. Well, maybe that'd be worth a try. Enzymes are all natural, and none of this stuff can be patented. That's the key. Because everything here that's biological, you can't patent something biological. It's not allowed. All right, there are exceptions. If they engineer a bacteria, you can patent it. But outside of that, it looks like you cannot. It says to be eligible for a patent, a microorganism must meet the following criteria. Novelty. The microorganism must not have been previously disclosed or made publicly available, which is pretty much everything with patents. Once it's out in the public, you can't patent it. It's like my Venturi laser stuff that can't be patented. Now, inventive step, non-obviousness. The microorganism must offer new or improved functionality compared to existing ones. So they have to do something. Human intervention. It has to meet all of these things. Human intervention. Microorganism must be the result of human ingenuity, such as through genetic modification, cell fusion, however markedly different characteristics from any found in nature. Alright, so it's got to be a little something a little bit different than something out of nature. Otherwise, you can't patent it. But you can patent it if they are new and have an industrial application, a result of human intervention such as gene modification. That's not the case we're talking about. We're talking about natural bacteria, but we have to know what it is. And we got to get it in a database. And AI can do this. Just with a little picture, I believe, of the poop. A smear of the poop. Send it off. It'll see all these different lines like this here. All of these different lines. And there'll be a spike here, spike, spike. And each one of those will be a different bacteria. They have a signature. They give off an exact frequency. And they'll be able to pick it up. AI will. And then it'll be able to pick up how many of those frequencies are hitting. So you say, we got a lot of this yellow stuff right there. That's not good. That's a problem. And we don't have enough of this red stuff down here. And it'll be a spike. A little spike here, a little spike. Every one of those will be a different chemistry. And the chemistry will be different. The chemistry is what gives off the different colors and the different frequencies. So we can see these things if we just work on that fecal matter swab. And like I say, with AI, right now it's a little cumbersome. You have to take the swab and then somebody's got to analyze it, But if you had the right software and you just clicked on it and sent that picture over, and it would just start compiling a database of yellows and blues and greens and oranges and this and that, and everybody would have a different variety of things in their body, but you list all your, everything about yourself. Nothing about your social security number, any of that stuff. Just any issues with your health and how you feel, your general overwhelm, pimples or whatever. And then this database would sooner or later show that most people that have a certain thing have a certain level somewhere that makes sense to that issue. Then we can do something, or at least we can look into it there. Right now, it's just all guesses. And guesses are not good when you're working with medical intervention. And I was seeing the fecal matter transplant as very, very effective, and I think it still is. And I don't think it's got the issues they're talking about. Because even right now, it says it only lasts for a couple weeks. Hold on. All right, they're talking about people just giving other people their own poop to take. Now, the diseases circulating in the donor population could be transferred to the recipient. Well, obviously, you have to have it checked out. Now, then they say short-term GI symptoms. So these go pretty quick. It says mild to moderate gastrointestinal issues, bloating, gas, abdominal discomfort, nausea, vomiting, fevers and chills can occur and usually pass within a day or two. It's very quick, but you're going to be invaded by a whole batch of new bacteria you didn't have before. So it's going to be killing things and bloating. You're going to have gas, yes. you're going to feel, oh man, that's terrible. I feel it. And it might be attacking things in you, and you get fever and chills. But it says usually passes within a day or two. Now they talk about long term. Now, why are they talking about long-term? Potential long-term complications include development or reoccurrence of inflammatory bowel disease. Well, it can reoccur, but at least you get rid of it while you have these good bacteria. Now, you may have to continue to supplement the bacteria in your bowel to keep it not inflamed. Now they talk about rheumatoid arthritis or immune thrombocytopenia, whatever that is. Responses in the immune system, apparently. They're talking, where did this come out of? Rheumatoid arthritis. Did they have it before and it's continuous, or all of a sudden it pops up from a lot of people that have bowel transplants? I don't think so. I think that's just speculation. So the donor, obviously you got to have healthy donor. And that there was a couple of them doing it, and I think they just never would let them get started, basically, because they were putting so many regulations in front of them. All right, this is informed consent and regulation. Unforeseen changes, well, depends on how bad you are and what you're trying to get rid of. There's no guaranteed perfect donor. I understand that, but that's because we don't have a database of what your bacteria levels are and what a good one's supposed to be, and then can we supplement it? We don't have to have the perfect donor. We have to have the perfect match. You can select this enzyme and that enzyme and 2 of those and 1 of these and 6 of those and change it, yes. They're talking about recipient compatibility. I'm talking about recipe. You're going to get a cocktail of things. Otherwise, you just get flushed with all new stuff. Well, it appears that it does seem to work pretty good. If the person that you got it from was healthy, it seems to have worked pretty well. And they're talking about regulation, risk, safety, so forth. I had always heard it was safe. And very effective, by the way. Especially for C. diff. C. difficile is almost the only way you can really cure it and have it gone most of the time forever. Sometimes it'll come back. Depends. It's all about the balance of the bacteria. Plus, what do you eat? What do you drink? What's your lifestyle like? That also affects all of this, because you're anything that goes through you, one way or the other, through your lungs, through your bloodstream, shooting up needles and this and that, smoking this and that, eating this and that, drinking this and that, whatever it is, it's got to go through you, and somewhere in that line, it's got to get broken down and treated and removed. That's the product, that's the result from bacteria making the enzymes to do that job. And they flush out enough of them to do the job, apparently. If you're a heavy drinker, a heavy smoker, or whatever or not, they seem to be able to keep up with that, whether or not they flush out extra stuff because of that, or I don't know. There's a little bit of work to do here, but it's the enzymes in the bacteria, and we need a database. From there, we go on.